Okay, we're going to be getting started in just a couple minutes. We just sent out the live stream link, so people will be coming on. I know we have a couple more people that'll be coming in too, and then we'll get going. Okay, we are going to get started. You don't necessarily need to sit down or anything, Lydia, because we're going to start with a. Oh yeah, look, welcome. Welcome. Sometimes I forget what's on these slides. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. Did you move over everything or just some of the things? Okay. All right. So we have a little group, so we're not sitting too far apart. This is good. But what I'd like everybody to do is and if you're live streaming at home, you can drop this in the chat, please. Or you can get on Slack if you're live streaming, and we can have an ongoing thread, whichever is easiest. But first things first, let's just have this group come together for a second. Diana, if you want to come over here, and Lydia, do you want to just join for a second? We're going to do a little group chat discussion. So first things first is, what did you commit to last week? If anything that came up from what you watched or saw, and that's okay if you don't have anything, but if you do, please share that. What did you commit to last week? Or an idea that you had that you wanted to implement. So share that with the group. Who wants to go first? So for those of you who are just listening at home, we're talking about some couple options for other sessions. So one of the things that we've got about 5 or 6 weeks of curriculum planned, but I've intentionally left a few weeks open for things that come up like that. So we can go over like how to use AI to do research. So a very simple thing would be like using Claude. You could develop a quick skill file to like look in an area, define ICP and stuff like that. It can be really good at that. Another one is we're going to have Jeff Durham come out to talk about retail in a couple weeks. I know many of you know him. In fact, some of you, that's how I know you, is he connected us. But if there's any other topics you think of, like we'll go over the upcoming curriculum, but Slack me or Bow me or email us. There are forms and stuff we send to you regularly, but let us know any other topical stuff that you want us to cover. We're really just getting started. We were just doing some conversational stuff. So if your back is to the screen and you want to get around on the other side of another table, you can. It's totally up to you. I just want you to be comfortable. The couple speakers we have lined up tonight are really long-winded and boring. It's myself and Kate, so I can make that joke. Okay, so we're just going to get right into it. Okay, so yeah, we just did this. We just went through some prompts about this and introductions. Okay, so just as a quick recap of kind of how we go, we're going to do a speaker session with a discussion. We'll take a quick break. We've got some snacks and some drinks over there. You can grab them right now if you want. And then we'll be doing another speaker session and discussion. So I am actually your first speaker. And I didn't put together a bunch of slides about why you should listen to me, because I'm not great at bragging about myself. But I work with a lot of the larger, well, not always larger. I just work with a lot of subscription brands. So Just Ingredients, Beehive Meals, Instant Hydration, Mars Men, My Freebird, the tons of big and small, transparent labs, you name it. And so a lot of the work that we do sounds like retention work, but it's actually a lot of related to acquisition, how you get subscribers. And so that is my area of expertise, is offers. And so while you might not be a subscription brand, everything I'm going to talk about is related to how you get people to purchase your product and how to frame your product so that people will want it. A lot of this is based on my experience, my knowledge in the industry, plus a little bit of help with ChatGPT organizing my thoughts, right? So it's in Canvas, so this way you know I generated this manually, okay? So I did not generate this with Manus or any other cool AI tool because I wanted to make sure this was really deliberate. So, and Kate, I'm not taking a shot at you. If you did yours with AI, it's okay. I'm just kidding. Okay, all right, so what makes an offer great? So I love, any movie fans here, Cinemark or Megaplex if you're in Utah? Is there a rivalry here? You want to shout out who you're Yeah, in our household it's split as well. I'm a huge Cinemark fan. My wife is a huge Megaplex fan. She says the popcorn is 10 times better. Cinemark has always got luxury seating. Their app works better. But one of the things that I think is really, really funny, if you've noticed, a lot of these movie theaters have both a loyalty program and a membership program. And the loyalty program is free to sign up, and you get 20% off, essentially 10, 20% off concessions, which feels like a complete and total no-brainer because you can spend like $30, $40, $50 on popcorn and soda and candy or whatever if you have a family going. But what's interesting is the membership option. Has anybody ever done a movie membership? Well, you should go look at Cinemarks. It's pretty interesting. So, well, and realistically, you know, Tabby, I actually got to meet the head of Cinemark's membership program at a subscription conference like a year ago. It was so weird because I was total fanboying out for this random lady who's like, who are you? So I'm like, will you come on my podcast and talk about your membership program? The reason I love it is because how much does a movie ticket cost? Let's just say, what, $12.50? Okay. So if I told you for the cost of $12.50 each month, you would get one free movie ticket, they would waive all online booking fees for any of those, and you'd get 20% off concessions instead of the 10% you normally get through your loyalty program. So who's thinking that that's a good deal? And what's the logic behind that? It's if I'm going to one movie a month, it pays for itself, right? Okay? So when we think about offers, we want to try to think about what like makes that feel like a no-brainer. Like you get somebody thinking like, how are they making money on this kind of thing? Another example is car washes. Who has a car wash membership? I think in Utah you kind of have to have one, but so the car wash is a very similar thing. It's like, hey, a car wash full price is say $20 a month. A membership is $15 a month. And in your mind, you're thinking, all I need to do is wash my car more than once a month, and I'm getting more than my money back, right? So those are two offers I like to think of. Another real obvious one that I kind of glossed over is Costco, because I'm sure most of us here have a Costco membership or something like that, which is, it just feels like a no-brainer. So our goal here is to get offers to feel like a no-brainer. So we're going to go through a couple examples, and then I'm going to walk you through a framework, and I've got some stuff that are going to be really easy for you. We're going to do a little interactive interactive activity. And I've actually already gone through, I used AI to do this, but I went through everybody's website that I have in the course, and I generated copy for your website that I'm going to share on Slack tonight with everybody here. So as a takeaway, all right? So, what's that? Well, that, you know, I can do AI too. I may not be an orthodontist doing it, but I can do AI too. Okay, offer number one, or example number one, toothpaste. And while I'm not picking on you, Kimber, this is just what actually came to mind is toothpaste. Okay, so I can buy it for $8.99. Here's 10% off if you subscribe or free shipping over $50. I just know that many of you are feeling kind of stuck in this space. Like that's kind of what I've got on my site right now. Okay, so just as an example of taking this up a notch, is we're going to update this copy so that it's like whiten your teeth in 14 days or your money back. Get a 3-pack and a travel tube and a whitening guide for $24. Subscribe to never run out again, and we're going to give you a free refill every 3 months. Okay? Now, that offer feels a lot more compelling, right? Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the cost and the risk of like doing something a little bit bigger than that, but that feels more compelling. So another example is coffee. So coffee, really simple. Hey, there's a bag of coffee, it's $18. You can get 10% off if you subscribe. Here's a free shipping, or maybe we'll give free shipping away, although at that price point, you really can't. Here's another example. Barista quality coffee at home in 5 minutes. First bag is $12 plus a free brewing guide. Join the coffee club for 10% off and a free mug. Okay? So when we're getting into all these things, we're thinking of how this works. So the difference between these offers is one is just a product and price, which anybody can do. And ironically, you'll see this across the e-commerce space as plenty of brands are doing this. And even some brands that are large and that you know of do it very basic like this. But the brands that are winning and that are finding really good conversion rates is when you start to create this converting offer. So instead of the product, we're talking about outcomes. So just to talk about Macy's Sora Fit example, right? So a really great example of this is what it is a hydration drink for women. But what's the outcome, Macy? What happens to women when they take that product? Yeah. Work harder, feel better, be faster. You could probably talk about how it's not going to mess with your hormones or other stuff. But again, that's like an outcome for people, right? And then we value stack. And this is where a lot of my experience with subscriptions comes in. It's like, what can we do to make it feel like you're getting a ton of value here? And then we'd like to give people a reason to act, whether that's something that's time related, a campaign. We're going to talk about those too. And then risk removal. Okay? And the goal with all this stuff is to try to keep this as simple as possible. Caitlin, when she gets up here, she's going to talk more about the overall website build, like some of the things that you need involved. But right now, we're focused really on that product page and that offer box. Okay, so clear, desirable outcome. People don't buy products, they buy outcomes. So a protein powder with 25 grams of protein, a better way to say that is like hit your daily protein goal without thinking, okay? So this is the question to think about in your mind when you're thinking about your product. What changes? So I know with Laura, with your product, we can say that it's easier, you get a cleaner wipe when you do that, but the outcome is really like less stress, less mess, like less fighting your kid. Like I think I told you this last week, my 18-month-old has started feeling extremely ticklish. So if he gets any poop up in his groin area, it's like fighting a vice, and he is laughing so hard he's going to fall off the changing table, right? So anything that makes that process easier to me as a consumer is going to land a lot better than, hey, it's easier to wipe, right? Okay, so that's something to be thinking about. What is changing in their lives, okay? Angie, I know you've got a product that is life-changing for women. What is some of the things as an outcome with your product? I love that. Leveling the playing field has a really nice ring to it. Yeah, absolutely. So we want to be talking about our products in that way, okay? All right, so here's some examples. And I'm a huge visual person, so I try to put, there's examples throughout this whole presentation. So this is a brand that I've worked with that I love, Respire. It's like hostage tape and nose strips. And so you can see they're claiming, revolutionary solution, but I really like this leading to whole body health improvements. And it's got some of these talk points: reduce snoring, more energy and immunity, right? Native, their shower essentials trio, when they talk about that, it's turn your shower into a full reset. So they're not even really necessarily talking about the ingredients in their bottle right there. They're like, hey, this is a reset. So they're trying to connect with somebody who views a shower as like, we're resetting ourselves, okay? All right, so high perceived value. So this is where an offer can go from being okay to being phenomenal. And I like to share this story. Scott Needham, he's the founder of Smart Scout. He spoke at an Amazon conference years ago, and he talked about Amazon selling a stuffed animal on Amazon. And I don't know if you ever tried to buy a stuffed animal on Amazon, but there's literally millions of listings for stuffed animals on Amazon. What he did, say a teddy bear, they took a book and they paired the book with the bear. So it was like they were selling like a nighttime experience. And so when you're scrolling on the screen with Amazon, you see teddy bear, teddy bear, teddy bear. Well, you see a teddy bear with a book. It jumps out at you, and you're putting that much more value into the purchase. You're not just buying a teddy bear, you're getting a teddy bear and a book for the cost that other people are selling a teddy bear at. Maybe it's a little bit more. But the idea is we're trying to find ways to stack value here. And so I didn't have this as a point up here, but one thing to be thinking about with your product, if there's like a complementary, I do have some of that. So under gifts. So gift with purchase is really, really compelling. And sometimes it feels like a huge risk. But if you can find simple ways where, say, for example, Kimber, where maybe you're gifting toothbrushes or a fun toothbrush or a pack of stickers, something that is simple that you can add to that order to make it feel more compelling if it aligns with like your outcome and the customer you're trying to reach, right? So like if we're selling to dads, maybe stickers aren't going to be as compelling unless they're like cool stickers, right? Kind of thing. So I don't want to overcomplicate all this, but it is worth, yeah, Angie, go ahead. I love that. Yeah. That is a phenomenal engagement strategy. Especially right now, you should be texting, calling, emailing as many customers as you possibly can. You can set up a flow to do that too. But yes, so think about things that go with your product that are complementary, potentially to be as a gift, right? So if we're selling towels, we could do a washcloth or a hand towel instead of a big towel. The bigger brands have larger catalogs, so they start to just use their catalogs to do those things, right? So like with Just Ingredients, it's like if we're selling protein powder, we can add electrolytes as a free gift because it's already in the catalog. So I don't want you to feel like, I have to go develop 50 new products. It's you either have a new product coming out you can pair with it as a gift, or you're thinking about complementary things like mugs. If you're doing a hydration drink, you could do the little electric mixers. Those are a little overdone, but you can do them. They still are working. But then also bundles. So bundles are like buy more, save more. So say if you're buying 1 month's supply of something or 2 months supply, or it's like 1 towel, 2 towels, 3 towels. You can afford to give a bigger discount when you're selling 3 towels than you are doing 1. Or if you're selling dresses, it's like, hey, if you buy 3 dresses, you get a 4th one free. Right? So the math on that starts to work out. As a test, you start this, but you start tracking like overall revenue and conversion rate. So a better offer should convert better, so you're getting more sales. And if you're doing a bundle approach where you're selling more at once, your average order value should also be higher. So you can afford to give away a little bit more margin on an individual product basis because you're selling 3 or 4 at a time. Okay, BOGO works for this, or like say buy one, get 50% off is another way to think about that. And there are a lot of examples. We're going to go through a couple of them. And then bonuses. So guides, tools, access. So Respire, that brand I showed you a little while ago, they've done a thing where they've connected with like a local, like a meditation app. And they are going to gift you a subscription to that for 3 months if you buy. And it's actually really easy to find things like that, especially in the sports world or anything that's related to Like there's content, there's influencers, there's all these things out there. So it's really easy to find maybe a guide or something like that. I don't think guides can be a little bit tricky if you're in a space where there's complexity. So like say with Sora Fit, a guide talking about how the female body is different for hydration than men, that can be a compelling thing. We like recipe books if you're doing something with food, like your cashew butter, like here's our top favorite ways to use it or to eat it. Okay, so some ideas there. But the goal is to make the purchase feel like a steal. So somebody sees that, they're like, that's a no-brainer. So here's some examples. These are kind of starter kit examples. I do really like the starter kit idea, whether you're on a subscription or not. You can give somebody a bunch of stuff and charge them more for it, but they feel like they're getting a lot of value. So Dollar Shave Club, it's really hard to read on this screen, but it's like $10 for this kit. Part of this is they're trying to get you on a subscription. So they're giving you a really, really good deal, but they're giving you all this stuff because they're hoping once you get it, you'll just commit to the system. You're not going to go in store to buy it, you're just going to keep getting it from them. Yes, Bree? No, so you'd switch this. And so, I have a better brand example of showing that. It's similar, it's a Go Flouse, but you'd say like up here in the text, it would say like what you get on subscription. So you get like a refill for $15 every month or something like that. And so what you're doing is the starter kit, and AutoShip Cloud will do this. It's essentially going to swap out the starter kit to the refill. And then the refill has its own price, and it has, say, a 10% discount or something for a subscription attached to it. It is. I've got a couple examples I can show you on that look really, really well. Yeah, it's GoFlouse, FLAUS.com is one of my favorite examples of a refill subscription, like how they explain it. And then here's Lola, right? So they've got, it's hard to tell, this is a picture of the cream that they're giving you for that, some applicators and some cotton pads. So all of this is in one package. So they could just sell the cream. They could sell all those things individually, but they're bundling them together so you feel like you get a stronger value. And here's some more. Ulta's. I really should have put white screenshots on a white background. Okay, so like this is their Rapid Dark Spot Correcting Serum. This is the part I want you to see. Free gift with purchase. So if you buy this, you get, they've got a 2-piece quick eye firmer with their Dark Spot Correcting Serum. So it's a gift that they're giving when you purchase the more expensive product. Space Goods, this is a kind of an extreme example. So I don't want you to go too far overboard, but I do like kind of throwing this out there, is they're gifting you all of these things with your first purchase. This is a memory and focus training. They've got a spoon, a whisk, a mug, a sweetener, kind of thing. And again, subscriptions are different LTV. So if you are dealing with a subscription product, you're trying to grab a higher lifetime value customer so you can afford to give more to get those in. If you want any help figuring out the math on that stuff, I'm happy to help you with that. But I do like showing those as an example so you can see what's potentially possible. If you have a higher AOV item or a higher AOV items, it is good to stack more things. So if you're trying to sell a product for $100, $150, $200 or more, then you should be looking at a lot of other products that might only cost you $2, $3, $5, $10 that you can stack together to make that offer feel really compelling, right? And so that's the thing to think about. Because I don't have this point on here. If I'm selling a $50 product and I'm running a special, 10% off is kind of lukewarm, that's $5 a margin. Say I'm doing a 20% off sale, that's $10 of margin I'm giving away. Now, if you've been sourcing products, you know there's a lot of stuff you could get for $5 or $10 if you ordered a few hundred or 1,000 at a time. So a coffee mug would cost you like $1 or $1.50, right? So you could stack a few items even for $5 or $10 of margin. So that's how I like to think about it, is the cost to get a free gift to you as the brand is going to be less than giving away discounts to try to compel sales. And then the sweet spot on top of that is that the types of people that are attracted by gift options are not value-seeking discounters the way people that just want a really, really good deal are. So you're selling to people that see value in what you're doing. They're willing to spend with you. So they're generally better customers overall too. Okay, reason to act. So this is a little bit tricky. I don't want you to lose too much sleep on this. It's if you have something compelling happening, use it. And so some of the simpler ways are like, we're trying to create urgency. So if we're doing sales, we're being really specific. It's a Memorial Day sale. It ends this date. Father's Day is around the corner, right? Lots of holidays work really, really well for this. If you're running a special thing, like say it's the Summer of Fit for Sora Fit, then maybe you want to pick a specific month, day, week kind of thing because summer's starting, you want to get in shape or something like that. You can do inventory based. Hey, we only have X number of these, or this is a limited amount. Event driven, again, around a launch, something seasonal happening, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But I will say, don't do this just for the sake of doing it. At your size, you don't have to worry too much about like burning people out, right? Your audience sizes are fairly small as you're getting your footing under you. But people see through bullshit, right? Like everyone here is a consumer. So we've all seen this stuff. Okay, yeah, right. The sale's never coming back. Okay. We've all seen the going out of business sales, right? Like, and the business is still there. So just don't go too far with that stuff. Try testing some of those. The goal with a lot of this is you set up a really good offer and then you will periodically run campaigns like around a holiday and you're gonna actually do more then. So if we're doing a gift with purchase normally, then maybe for Father's Day we're doing an extra 10% off. Or for Memorial Day we're doing an extra 10% off as part of that sale. But yeah, here's just some examples of I'm just kind of writing those out. Holidays make great deadlines. If you have a bonus offer, you can try and put an expiration date on that. And then if you do have a product like clothing does really well with this where you have drops or limited runs, you want to try to lean into that if you can. Risk reversal. So this is kind of like just a typical like removing fear. This is why we all love Amazon because we know if there's any problem, Amazon's going to make it right. We just check that the product allows returns. That's pretty much it, right? So on your brand, we want to try to say these things and be as explicit as possible so that people feel comfortable purchasing from you. So we could do money back guarantees, try it free for 30 days, free returns. So I've got this line here, risk versus reward on risk reversal, which is a mouthful. But what I mean here is, who is afraid to give a money back guarantee? Okay, I got one. I'm just gonna say, that's pretty good. Most people don't like doing money back guarantees because they're afraid they're gonna get thousands of people like telling them, I don't like your product, I want my money back. So none of you are worried about that happening. Okay, well then I don't need to convince you of this, otherwise to say, oftentimes you're not gonna get everybody who purchased from you returning a product. It's just not gonna happen, right? You'll have a sub-segment of people that do that. When you start doing this, the goal is to evaluate this periodically. So again, if you're doing 100 orders in a month, and you're getting 10 people that are asking for their money back based on the money back guarantee, then you could try taking that guarantee off of the website. And if you go down to 85 orders, you're netting out negative, right? So you want to think of, when we're thinking about doing these things, we're trying to pay attention to what's happening and evaluating the effectiveness of it. But the goal would be it would get you more sales because you're offering the guarantee as opposed to worrying about some of those returns. But people like this. And if you have more than one product that you're selling, say flavors, if you have different flavors and somebody doesn't like a flavor and they want their money back, you can always use that as an opportunity to engage. Can I send you, please keep it, can I send you a sample pack with some other flavors to try it, right? You want to use these as engagement opportunities wherever you can. Yes? So I like it either right above or right below the add to cart button, where you can use badges as well. Say like free returns, ships in 2 to 3 days, 30-day money back guarantee. So that way, when somebody's going to add to cart, they're at that last decision point. That's what they see, is the guarantees. Is a good place to put that. Yes, Angie. Yep. I think We'll Make It Right is great. It's one of those things of you can add it to a potential list of things you can test. I know with all this you have 50 million things you're worried about, and this might be pretty far down the list, but you could try testing that out a little bit. If you're not getting any pushback or questions, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. We'll Make It Right I think is a great claim to do as well. Especially at your brand where you're feeling like you're connecting with a lot of people, they feel like they're connecting with you. That's going to be that's going to be worth its weight in gold. But here's a couple examples. So this is Brook Linen. So they show their free shipping rule. They've got 365-day returns because it's linens, sheets and stuff, right? So people use them for a long time. They can wear through them. This Warby Parker one is really hard to see, but this is a long list. Right here, it's underneath their pictures. I've never seen this before. I found this today, but I really liked it. It's got, so they mention a couple things like single vision, prescriptions, polycarbonate lenses, some of the features, but they've got free shipping, free returns or exchanges, free scratched lens replacement, they're FSA, HSA, and insurance accepted, and they also have a mission, buy a pair, give a pair. For every pair purchased, they donate a pair to someone in need. So that's a really long list of some things you could potentially steal or use in yours. Okay, so this is kind of like the why this, why now, why you. So this is kind of like pulling all this together. We're thinking about storytelling, how we're sharing some of this. So your offer should quickly answer like why this product, why does this matter? So being specific matters. Being outcome driven with our copy matters. Why now? Is there a reason why it matters now? Like from a time-bound event, or is it like, hey, this is the first step of the rest of your life kind of language? Why should I trust you? And so where I've got on this here as well is like founder story, social proof, reviews, UGC testimonies. A lot of these things can live on your website as well. That's what some of these examples we have here. I think you can see, yeah, they've got their reviews on the right side. If you've got those, this is something you can put a little bit farther down the page with showing your reviews. Video testimonials do really well. If you're founder driven and you're making content online and that's a big part of how you're getting people to the site, I highly recommend putting a founder video as part of the images on the product page, because then you can talk about your product very succinctly, why this is different, why this matters for people. Yeah, reviews, UGC, okay. All right, so some examples here. I really love this Bombas one. It's actually kind of got, it doesn't have the copy on it, but you've got some of the different options, but they do a one purchase, one donated. They've got their free shipping. They've got their reviews right here, but it's really simple. I would potentially add a little bit of copy up there, but it's Bombas, and you had to go through like multiple screens to get to the specific sock. 8 Sleep. Has anybody heard of this brand? Do you have one? My buddy has it in Atlanta, and he was telling me a little bit about it, because this is like this big, really expensive sleep system. So this is like $2,500. This is like a huge purchase. But they've got all this stuff on here. I've screenshotted it 2 different places. I really like how they've got some of these things kind of explaining like what it does. It cools, heats, tracks your sleep, but this is the thing that I love the most. They're using a little bit of dynamic feed to show the shipping date so that you know when you get it, which is a really good outcome as well. Some local companies like PDQ, Redo can add that to your site if you're interested. You do have to pay for it though, so be careful on the cost. 5-year warranty, 30-night risk-free trial, free returns, free shipping. So it's a $2,500 purchase, and they're just saying, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Okay. All right, so group activity. We're going to do this real quick, and then, so I'd like you to pair off. Let's do that. So just grab somebody next to you. If we have an even number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we do, okay. So just pair off. And what I'd like you to do is share your product with the other person, and I want you to think about some outcome-based copy that works for their brand, not yours. And the reason we're doing this is because in my experience, I have a really hard time thinking about outcome-based stuff for my stuff. Like somebody asked why they should attend Commerce Catalyst, I'm, right? But other people tell me stuff and it sounds brilliant, right? So that's what I'd like you to do. just take a few minutes for each side, write 2 to 3 sentences of outcome-based copy, and then I'd also like you to just think of a few different ways that you could potentially sell that product. So we're going to take about 5 minutes. We're going to go we'll do 2 minutes each side. So we're going to start. My watch just died. So we're going to watch right now. For those of you at home, if you want to share your websites in the chat, then other people could try doing this for you at home as well. Okay, let's get started. Okay, we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna have a break in like 2 seconds, so you'll be able to keep chatting if you'd like. But let's kind of go on here. Okay, so this is your homework. And I really do think AI can be a great thought partner. It's not always the best at helping you figure out exactly how to do it, but I love it as a thought partner, right? So what you just did with the partner, the friend that you made, hopefully, is you can do this with ChatGPT to go through this for your own brand. So I want you to write more outcome-based copy for your website. I'd like you to think of 3 different ways to offer your product. But this is the last one, and this is the one that maybe takes a little bit of time talking with partners or friends, confidants, mentors. What makes your brand special? Is that the years that you fought through adversity to develop a product that helped solve the problem that you had? Is it that you're the only person making sweet potato brownies in the entire world, and so you know more about them than anybody else? Like, what is that thing? And this isn't a time to feel like I'm not that person, okay? This is the time to step into your power, right? Like, you're thinking about this like, what am I doing or bringing to the world that is different or special or unique? I want you to try to see if you can find a piece of that and include that in how you're talking about your product, right? If it's your vision, if it's the ingredients, if it's the journey you've taken to reach here, if it's the team, if it's the quality of the product, whatever that thing is, make sure you're bragging about that on your product page, okay? That's the one little special like cherry on top from this presentation I want you to take away is think about what makes your product brand you special or different in the market and make sure that you're telling people about that on your product page, okay? And again, for these first 2, you can use AI for that. I don't know, maybe you can use AI for the 3rd one, you never know. AI is really good at telling us nice things about ourselves. Okay, on Slack tonight, I've already got the post scheduled, okay? It's already in there at 9 o'clock. I've got 28, 29 brands, and I just want you to keep in mind, these are suggestions. I did not go through your site, and I'm not looking at this with a critical eye, okay? I created a script, I had AI help me generate this stuff, and then I screened it to make sure that nothing was like completely ridiculous. Okay, so I want you to just take some inspiration. A lot of this is inspiration. You have to do the work. I'm trying to put more resources and examples in front of you. If you would like to share your website on Slack, I'm sure everybody here would have some ideas to comment on, or myself or anybody else will as well, okay? All right, so that's it for right now. We're gonna take a quick break, just a few minutes, say like 4 or 5 minutes to get up, stretch around. We've got some snacks, some water, some drinks. Socialize, there's a restroom right here or right around the door, on the hallway on the other side. And we'll reconvene in just a few minutes, and Caitlin will take over. Okay. Too old. For those of you off camera, there's a lot of product sharing going on right now. So sorry you're not here to partake. Hey, just as real quick as we're kind of coming back together, if you could have one founder in Utah, man or woman, doesn't matter, but from an e-com brand, come speak to you, this small group, who would you pick? Carlin Call. Who was the Lindsay one? Oh, next Friday? Yeah. 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 He's kind of fun. He's a little quirky. Okay. Okay. It is. He's that guy when they walks in a room, you realize that they are just light years cooler than I am. Like I was like, wow. He just yeah, he's got a really cool vibe. But he came out to our award show. You remember the pitch competition we had? Yeah, he was there. Okay, I will reach out to his team. Carlin, I think it's just a scheduling issue, but we'll see if we can make it happen. That's who I was thinking of as well. I think she'd really like this. So, and then the other note for anybody, the AI question, as this is kind of coming together, if you have heard of somebody who is doing something with AI, or there's something you would like to do with AI, similar to the example Macy shared, will you just message me, text me, email me, Slack me? Because I'd like to potentially just see if we could just make some of these tools for you, and or have a session where we're showing you how to make some of these tools too. So I think that'd be really helpful, and I'm trying to find more excuses just to play around with AI myself. Okay, so Caitlin, you're gonna introduce yourself, or should I brag about you for a minute? Okay. Caitlin has not been able to tan this year so far because she's been. Caitlin is one of my favorite people. I've known Caitlin for a couple years now. She used to run digital product at Dime Beauty. She's now at Baltic Born. She works with a ton of brands. She's been really active in Commerce Catalyst. She's actually reached out to me last fall and she was like, hey man, why don't we have a women in e-com group? And I was like, glad you didn't call me out publicly. It was just a DM that we figured out. But every time I ask her to show up or to do something, she says not just yes, but hell yes. So I'm really excited to have her up here because she gets to share some of her expertise with you and not just her soon-to-be tan skin.
That was a horrible dad joke. Hello. That's good. Okay. Hi, I'm Caitlin. Oops. Oh no. Oh, that's not me. Okay. I thought I pushed something wrong. I'm going to talk about your website. I've done e-commerce websites for the last 6 years. Something that Matt forgot to mention is that I originally started at HydroJug, so that's fun. Started at HydroJug as just a web developer, and then have just continued to move through the e-com space through website stuff. I find it really fun and really interesting. Which button do I push? Okay. At the computer? Okay. Okay. These are down here, like the main core things for your website. So we're going to go over all of these, but something that I want you guys to do just right now while we're talking is if you have your phone, turn it off the Wi-Fi and load up your site on your phone and see how long it takes your site to load. If you're on a computer, obviously you still need to stay on Wi-Fi. On a computer, you can pull up like your same website, see how long it takes it to load. Oh, I have to point it at the computer. Sorry. This has a lot of information on it. I'm not going to talk through every single point. Matt will send this out later. This is just a lot of like really good information and reference points for you guys. There are things on here that are important that I will talk about, like mostly above the fold stuff. And if you don't know what the fold is basically the bottom of your screen, either on your phone or on your desktop. So anything above the fold is what you see when you land on the page. Anything below the fold is stuff you don't see until you scroll down. 50% of people never make it below the fold, whether that's on your phone or on desktop. If you don't have like a heat mapping software for your site, I would highly recommend looking into one. They have ones that are like 20 bucks a month, but knowing how deep people scroll on your site, knowing where people are clicking, are very important things to give you insights onto what's important to put on a page. So things you want to keep above the fold. Obviously your product images, obviously the title of your product, because if they don't know what they're looking at, they're going to bounce. Price is visible immediately. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I land on your page, I'm like, what does it cost? That's what most people's question is if they come in from an ad, what does it cost? If they can't find the price, they're going to bounce. Variant selectors. So if a product comes in multiple sizes, colors, lengths, inseams, whatever it is, that needs to be visible. Your add to cart button. On mobile especially, it is so important to have some kind of a sticky add to cart button. As that user is scrolling down the page, how annoying is it to have to scroll all the way back up the page to add that product to your cart? You want to create as small amounts of friction as possible for that customer to purchase. Social proof, if you have enough reviews or testimonials or anything like that, always a good thing to have. They should link. So if you click on your reviews, it should take the user down to the review section of your page. So your homework, there's a few different like homeworks on each page. You don't have to do them all. But right now on mobile, on your store, does your add to cart button show without scrolling? So if you load up your site on your phone, is there an add to cart button visible at all before you scroll? Yes. What do you mean multiple products? Mm-hmm. Well, so this is individual PDPs. So this would be like one product's PDP. So the multiple colors thing, you could do like swatches and then sizes underneath. You could do a drop down on mobile so you're not eating a ton of your space with like individual buttons, things like that. We'll go next. These are some interesting screenshots that I grabbed just now. We're looking at best, and this is not biased because I have feelings. Best, better, not the worst, and not great. The only reason that this one is better than this one, who can tell me why? Why this one is better than this one? This add to cart is very clear, and you can see it. If there is one here, it is covered by 1, 2, 3 different pop-ups or widgets that live on your page. Widgets are fine, but not when they stack all in the same space. Put this one up here on the side. Move this guy up, into this area. You don't want everything crowded on the bottom. Who can tell me why Hydro Jugs is the best? Yeah, so you have your add to cart, you have your variants, you have your, whatever you call it, trust badges. So secure checkout, free shipping, easy returns, like Matt was saying before. You have your price, you have your images. All of this is within the top fold. Yeah? Mm-hmm. If you have subscriptions. Mm-hmm. Let me see. Let me see what you're talking about.
Like if you have like a this is my website, but if you have like a subscription section that has all these benefits,
Yep.
then it makes my
So
ad
you
cart
should
look
have a
better.
sticky add to cart though,
I mean, I do if you follow down.
but it should be there when that page loads.
Like where would it live?
It lives at the bottom. It can be small.
So instead of it coming up here,
It should be right there.
it should be right there, like a sticky ad. I wonder how you fix
And that
that.
would be a non-subscription.
Yeah.
So you have a pre-selected for the subscription, correct? So if they add to cart, it will select that pre-selected one. It's going to default to whichever one you have pre-selected. They will have to go and change it if they don't want that one, and then it'll add to cart the same way. Or it should. Mm-hmm. No, because your sticky buttons, it's not going to have the selector on it as well. Your selector stays up here. Mostly what this add to cart button is like they've selected like, oh, I maybe want a 2-pack, but I just want to read some more. Or I'm landing on it, I already know I want to buy the 2-pack because they can see it's pre-selected. They just add it to cart through the sticky button. The sticky button is very important because if you're 4 or 5 scrolls deep in description and you're like, yes, I want to buy this, add to cart. It just makes that friction of going back up the page. Like the less time you have to give someone a customer decision of like, do I want to buy this or not, the faster they're going to convert. So if you have to make them scroll all the way back up to add to cart, they're like, maybe I don't want it. Yep, that's your fold. Yeah, so what I would do, Tabby, honestly, you have a lot of white space right there. On mobile, I would cut that off. That's gonna give you an inch, which will give you at least this. Or, a lot of times I see fashion brands bring the title and the price above the image on mobile. And then you would have your sticky add to cart here. Because that's going to stick with you, right? You can come down and change the size, whatever, but like that's going to give you the information. It's this shirt, it's this price, I like this shirt, now I'm going to scroll down and pick my size.
Is this sticky or is it because it pops up but like is that considered sticky?
That is considered sticky,
Okay.
yep. Oh. Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? Yeah. Subscription. Let me noodle on it for a second. I'll come back to you. I still think you should have a sticky button. Oh, yeah. I'll have to think about it. And again, this is just best practice from what I've seen in my experience. I am by no means, I haven't been in the industry for 20 years. I've been in it for 6 years, but these are my best recommendations and best practices that I see work for brands that I've worked for. Okay. Keeping it simple. So the PDP is like your website's your storefront. So your PDP is basically like your product sitting on the shelf or sitting on the rack or on a mannequin, however you want to say it. It's not, you don't need to reinvent the wheel for your PDP is what I'm saying. Keeping it simple on your PDPs is going to be the most helpful for you and for your customer, understanding what it is that they're purchasing it. So avoid pop-ups that are stacked on pop-ups. Like this example here from Hydro Jug. I have the cookie banner, and then I have their, what I'm assuming is email, sign up for our email pop-up. And that was all within about 10 seconds of me not doing any clicking on the page. this is a horrible experience, especially if you're on your phone and you're trying to click out of all things. You're like, I just want to look at the damn product. Quit shoving all these pop-ups in my face. So a lot of times what I tell people for pop-ups, either number one, don't do a pop-up and put it like in the footer of your website. However, I do know that pop-ups are they work very well. You grow your email list very well. So I would say like second page even, or maybe even third page, instead of like immediately on page load, or even 15 seconds after the page loads, something like that. But not immediately on page load, because you're going to get your cookie banner, which you have to have. It's required, GDPR compliance, whatever. This always pops up. People are used to this, and they're used to this, but it's annoying when they overlap. Let me go back. Tiny fonts. Please, please, please do not use anything that is smaller than like a 14 pixel font on mobile, unless it's for like really small, like fine print or something like that. I know a lot of you guys use like freelance developers or anything like that, but it is just something good to be looking at and making sure that your font isn't too small and that it's readable. You guys, we're gonna cover ADA compliance stuff later, and ADA compliance is a really, really, really big issue, especially for small businesses. Okay. Avoid, you guys are small enough businesses where you guys don't have 10 plus categories, but your navigation should be easy to navigate. Should be category, should be flavor, should be, whatever. But it needs to be easy for a customer to find what they're looking for at a top level. Then you have filters for a more deep level in the collection page. Avoid those. We talked about that. Whatever. Moving on to this one. Okay, Daily Shade, I'm gonna pick on you for like 3 seconds. And it's only because I just saw this. This is your homepage banner on desktop. So half of your image is cut off on the top up there. The bigger the screen gets, if there's not a maximum width set, that image is gonna blow up. So if you don't set a maximum width on your site, the image continues to stretch with the screen. I will tell you later, or I'll come help you with it in a minute, but I just wanted to call it out because these are things that customers see, but you won't see, right? Because I have a different screen size than Bree does. Matt has a different screen size than Bree does. I might be on a 24-inch monitor at home, but I'm on a 13-inch MacBook at work. So these are things that when you're QAing your site, I would just double check and plug into a monitor if you can, or send it to someone who you know. Say, hey, can you look at this before we put it up and just make sure that we don't have anything weird going on. Okay, go to the next one. There we go. Site speed. Who here thinks about the speed of their site more than once a year? Okay. I am going to teach you. I'm going to teach you how to self-diagnose your site speed, and I even have the tools listed on here so that you don't forget them. But there's a couple big things for site speed that I think are very important. Number one, it's the format of your images. All of the website images should be in what's called a WebP format, .webp format. Most of them are probably PNG, JPEG, or JPG. These are not optimized for web. Shopify will optimize them, but it's still not serving them as fast as it could if they're already in a WebP format. there's a tool, and I think I put it on here. If I didn't, Matt will put it in the Slack channel. It's called JamP, and you just drop all your photos in it. You can keep your resolution at 100% and just convert it to this format, or you can drop the resolution and convert it to the format. Either way, it's a really cool tool. It's very fast, it's very efficient. If your photographer is just giving you raw JPEG images, if you're taking them at home by yourself on your iPhone, anything like that. So images, any apps that you are not using, you need to uninstall them. A lot of apps put code on your site and then leave it there to collect dust, and dust slows you down. So do old scripts from apps that you're not using anymore. Please audit all of your apps and remove any that are not being used. And then if you're still having it slow and you're still seeing any script being rendered on your store after you've uninstalled the app, you need to email the app and tell them to go in and take it out. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like labeling the image file name? No, it doesn't. I mean, you don't want it to say AI generated whatever, because if someone saves that photo, then the label's gonna show up. But as far as naming conventions don't really matter. What's gonna matter is your alt text that's on the image, which also ties into accessibility. So my challenge is to make sure, all of your images in Shopify that are on your site have alt text, which is what screen readers use to describe the website to someone who is visually impaired. And then, let's see, unused thought. Large video files. If you use video, please be careful. It slows your site down so much. There are things you can do to make it faster, but your site speed will take a hit no matter what you do with video. The best thing you can do if you want to do video is do a GIF. However, GIFs don't have the highest quality all of the time. But a GIF is better than an MP4 file. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It can. It depends. Sometimes those are native, they add them themselves to their site through a section that they have built themselves, and they may be hosting those videos outside of Shopify and calling them in. That's one way to get around load times. The other way, a lot of people will use third-party apps like Tolstoy or VideoWise or things like that will host the video in their platform, and then they serve it on your site for you. So for UGC, things like that, those little UGC carousels you see with the little shoppable things underneath, those are usually Tolstoy, things like that, because they basically connect into all of your social media and pull all of your videos. You go in and link the products, and then they will show whatever videos you've selected, and then the product underneath it. But that's how they get around the site speed stuff. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about site speed. So if you have your computer and you go to pagespeed.web.dev right now, and you type in your homepage URL, dailyshade.com, pearlpop.com, any of those, and you click analyze, or whatever the button says, you're going to get a score like this. This is called your Core Web Vitals score. These are very important. This is something that Google uses in its rankings for your site. So if you are failing on desktop and mobile, you want to fix that. And then it gives you scores here for performance. So performance relates to site speed. This is how fast your images load. This is how fast your scripts load. This is how fast your apps are loading, all of that. Accessibility is how accessible your site is to someone who's disabled. Best practices, and then SEO. Best practices is more for developers. SEO is very important for how searchable is your site. That's going to be things like alt text, meta descriptions on your product, your product title is even important. These things, like first paintful content, time to first byte, these are more important to a developer, but these are good things to know and to look into. You can like scroll down underneath this, and it gives you a list of what's causing your slowness. So you can look under performance, and it'll say, reduce unused JavaScript, reduce image size for better performance, things like that. It'll say what it is, and it'll give you an example if you open it. But if you use a developer or an agency, these are things that you want to send to them and say, hey, our performance score is a 38, and we're not passing Core Web Vitals. That's a problem. We need to fix that. And then they will go in and try to fix it. There are certain things that you can't control, like Google Tag Manager script. That is always going to be a pain in the butt. Just is what it is. A lot of third-party apps or tracking pixels are a pain in the butt because they have to load when the page loads. You can't defer them, otherwise you lose tracking on those people. So there will always be, you will never get this to 100, let me just say that. This will never be 100 unless you just barely started your site and you're not tracking any ad, you're not doing anything. You have no pop-ups, nothing. This will never be 100. You can get it to like 80, and 80 is probably a really good place to be. There are very few sites that are at 80. Most websites sit in like the 50 or 60 range, just because of how many pixels they use. You have Facebook, you have Amazon, you have TikTok, you have Google, you've got CCTV, you have Snapchat. Like all of these, every single one of them adds weight to your site and slows you down. So those are just good things to know. This just talks more about WebP formatting and making sure that your images are converted. This is the website. It is free, and it is in the browser. You do not have to pay $1 to use this ever at all, and you can use it for as many images as you want. So this is a great tool. The homework on there is pick your most 3 viewed product pages, download your hero image, run it through the WebP formatter, re-upload it, and then test the page speed again and see if it's any faster. It should be. Okay, accessibility. This is something I really wanted to touch on, especially for smaller businesses. Accessibility is so important that you cover your ass on this. This is a business. People make a living suing online companies for not being accessible, and no, I'm not kidding. They will settle outside of court for thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the size of your company. I am not trying to scare you, but it is something that you do have to take very seriously. I have a freelance business on the side, and I have a company that I work with right now that is dealing with their second accessibility lawsuit. So there are a few key things that they always hit on accessibility. Alt text on your images, always. The screen reader is the only way they can read what images are on the site. No auto-playing video. If it is going to autoplay, it has to have the controls, the video controls on the video. I know it's ugly. I know no founder likes it, no marketer likes it. They're like, can't we just make it pretty? And it can just autoplay with no play button, and it can't stop. No, you can't do that. You'll get dinged. Color contrast. You cannot have a hot pink background with orange text. There has to be contrast between your backgrounds and your text. Or if there's text on your image, like live text, it needs to have a background behind it. So if you have like a badge that says like new product, it should probably have a badge or a background behind it so that it has contrast. Readable fonts. 16 pixels minimum on mobile. I say 14. 16 is probably the safer bet. But if you're really trying to squeeze a lot of text on there, 14 might be the way to go. Just space it out a little bit. No all caps paragraphs. You can use all caps, but use it sparingly. Keyboard navigation. Most of your guys' sites, if you bought or downloaded a free or paid for a Shopify theme, should all have the keyboard navigation. That's something that usually like fully custom sites forget to add. But this is where if I press tab on the website, it pops up this little thing that says like accessibility for content, and you can start tabbing through the screen. And then descriptive link texts. Your links should have, like in the code, there should be alt text essentially for your links, which describes what the link is or where it goes. Does anybody have any questions? Yes. Totally fair. Can what? You can. I will tell you I'm not an expert. There are services that will do this for you. Please do not install a widget onto your site. Those people still get hit with accessibility lawsuits. You need someone to go into your code and make your code accessible. All the widget does is overlay your site, and it's not actually doing any good. But if you want resources, I have resources. Am I way over? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. 1000% you should have an accessibility statement on your website. If you do not, that is your homework tonight, is to put an accessibility statement in your footer and a page on your Shopify site. It links to the footer. It just says, you can have ChatGPT even write it. They have templates for them online. You just fill in like the name of your company, whatever, but that helps protect you a lot. That was a great question. Thank you. Yes. Basically, the statement says, like, we know we're not perfect. We are making every attempt to make our space accessible because, I don't remember what it's called, but like WAG 2.6, something like that, basically says that websites are public spaces, so they have to be accessible to all. And you are saying we acknowledge that, and we are doing everything in our power to make our website accessible to all. I won't get too deep into product descriptions. This is more just good things to know and good practices as you're building products. So let's say you are building your products in Shopify and you duplicate your product from another product. What's going to happen is it duplicates the title, but it's also at the bottom of the page going to create a URL that says https dailyshade.com/products/rosehipoil-1 or copy. You need to change that to whatever the new product title is. This is very important. SEO, if your URL doesn't match the product title, that's weird as a customer, number one. But number two, Google's going to look at that and say, I don't know what to do with that, because your URL doesn't match the product. Your meta description, let me go here. Is this at the bottom of your PDP page when you're building your product? This is what's called your meta description, or your SEO listing. This is what Google is going to pull. You can change all of this, but this is where you're going to change that URL to not be -1. It should just be room service, right? Your meta description should be 146, nope, should be at least 160 characters, no more. This is what Google and AI use to determine if they're going to recommend your product or not for what a user is searching for. And then the title. This is your meta title. So the name of the product, what the product is, and your brand. Oh, this is at the bottom of your PDP. When you're in Shopify, product description page. When you're in product page, sorry. When you're in Shopify and you click products, and you click into one of your products and you go all the way to the bottom, that's where this lives. Yeah. This is a horrible example. This should be longer. This is pulling directly from the product description, which is okay if you have good product descriptions. If your product descriptions look like this, you need to put this product into ChatGPT, Cloud, whatever, and say, give me a good meta description for this product. Keep it under 160 characters. Product meta fields are my favorite thing as a developer. Product meta fields are mostly used for developers. That's how developers are going to pull like product-specific information across PDPs that have one template. So if your product uses the default product template, but it has like a meta field for color or swatch or something of that nature, it's then going to pull that product's meta field information on that specific product. What's up? Oh my God, I would love that. We can do that right now. Yeah, I can do a Loom. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It's a lot. It's so much information. I know, I'm sorry. I tried so hard. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've tried. Okay. My main point is that 80 to 90% of your customers shop on their phone. So please, when you are QAing your website, when you are looking at your website, if it looks good on mobile, 90% of the time it's gonna look good on desktop. But always, 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 shit, sorry, Matt. And of course it hit my drink. Look at it on mobile. If you are, sorry about me. If you're sending screenshots to people and you're being like, this doesn't look good, send it to them on mobile first. Okay? That's probably the most important thing there. Again, a wall of information. For Shopify stores specifically, having those express ways to check out, Daily Shade was a really good example of this. She has the Buy with Shop button right here under her Add to Cart button. Tons and tons and tons of people use this button. This is not ideal for subscriptions. This is not ideal for if you're trying to get your AOV higher. This is ideal for conversion because this is easy. I click this, I'm logged into ShopPay, I bought what I wanted, I'm out. This is for an intentional buyer only. For other brands like subscriptions and things like that, it may not be the way to go because you can't, to my knowledge, no, you can't do a subscription to that. But it's better to do the add to bag because there are other options along the way that you can do with edits. There are things that you can't do in shop checkout that you can in regular checkout, but we can cover that another time. But this is very helpful. This helps with your conversion rate because it reduces the checkout friction is the main point that I'm trying to touch on with that. Test every change before and after. If you're like, I want to change this, test whatever page it is before. So do a site speed page test. Make sure it's passing on Web Vitals, all of that. Make your change. Test it again. And then compare your results and see if you're sacrificing speed, if you're sacrificing anything, is that worth the sacrifice? Does it make sense? Yada, yada. And then these are just things that I think are the most important that you guys should check for your site. PDP layout, number one. Simplify anything that doesn't move someone closer to buying, especially if it's on the PDP. Your founder story is a great place on the homepage or on the About Us page. Your brand pillars, great place on the homepage. Clean formulas, made in the USA. Here's the factory it's made at. Awesome on the PDP. Accessibility, site speed, all these things. This is your little checklist for your website. That's all. That's all I have. Sorry, I know I hate you with so much information.
As I mentioned, we'll drop that as soon as we wrap up. I'll drop that in the Slack. We'll email the presentations to everybody too, in case you're not in there. If you're not on the Slack, let me know or let us know. You have to join the Slack channel overall, and then we have to manually add you into the. You have to join the Slack group overall, and then we manually add you to the channel. So if you're not in there, or if you'd like to be, just let us know. Bomi and I will help you figure it out. Okay, so end of class. So a lot of this is we want to get into some reflection, thinking about this. We are wrapping up. Don't worry, we're going to have you out of here in just a couple of minutes. But just think about, what's your biggest takeaway for tonight? It's really easy to think about the 20, 30, 50 things that you are not doing, that you need to be doing, or feeling inadequate, all of that stuff. We're going to kill that right now. Just think about what is like the biggest thing that you want to take away from this evening? Yes, there are other things you can take away too, but what is that one big thing? So you don't need to answer it. Just think about that for a moment. Hi, Tess. When did you come in? Okay. Then yes, think about the one specific action you can apply to your business this week. Is that going through checking your site speed, your vitals? Is that contacting with Kate to see about maybe getting some help on the technical side? Is that looking at your offer? Is that any inspiration you got on copy, just updating how you're talking about your product? So many things. Okay. And then again, if you haven't yet already, jump into the Slack, share some of those things. This is a fun little bit of accountability. If you'd like to share some of the stuff, what your takeaway was. If you'd like to share the one thing you're going to work on. Or if you have a question or idea like, hey, this is what I'd like to do. Does anybody else know how to do this? Like, yes, myself in my area, Kate in her area, we have other people, experts in Commerce Catalyst, in the community at large, so we can connect you with people. But right here in this room, there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 amazing founders that are all on a journey and that all have great skills. Some of them overlap, some of them are unique. So there actually might be somebody in the group that can help you with some of those things right now. Okay? Yeah, complete your action item before next week and be ready to share results as part of our warm-up. Upcoming schedule. So next week, I've got two incredible ladies, Megan Brewster and Jenny Stamper. They're going to come here and just talk about email. So we're going to do the two sessions will be on email campaigns and email flows. So helping you get into your business. I'm also going to ask them to make sure they set aside some time for you if you're here in person and you want to show them something in Klaviyo or anything like that, that they'll be available. So either come a little bit early or be willing to stay a little bit late, but we'll also have some time in the session to do that if you'd like help getting into email specifically. Content creation and organic social. Anybody know Levi Lindsay? Yeah, so Levi's going to come talk about content creation. It's going to be amazing. We are working on, we've got a couple people potential for influencers in TikTok Shop, because I'm assuming that's something y'all care about, right? Yes? Okay. Wholesale and retailers, Jeff Durham is coming from Gimme Beauty. He's absolutely incredible, ready to chat about this. And then again, as I said, please let me know if there's a specific topic. So we've got AI that we're going to add to the itinerary. If there's anything else that you want, Angie, go ahead. You can shout out. Okay, yes, ad buying. Okay, great. We'll get that too. That's definitely one of them. What's that? Okay. What for June 10th, I feel like we could maybe do content creation and organic social as a single presentation and do ads for the other one, and we could always do more follow-ups on ads. So we might be doing that, but we'll see. We've got a couple of great people that'll come help for that. But then related to sourcing, fulfillment, ops, anything like that. Did any of you see the Cavella demo at the April conference where you can use AI to like source a sample from China? It's pretty awesome. So there's some really, really cool stuff that we can bring out depending on what you need. Okay, and then yeah, we have an event next Friday here, Founder Conversations with Lindsay and, it's too late for me to forget names. Ashley, I think, yes, from House of Foils and Little Milk Bar. We're going to come out and chat. And then we have a Women in Ecom workshop / dinner that Caitlin is hosting. It's going to be on the 16th. It's from 3 o'clock here, right here, and then dinner at Taqueria 27. It's going to be really cool. And then, yeah, you can see a link to some of these at our website. And we have our fall event, but let's go. It's time to go home. Prices do go up into the month if you want to go to that. And thanks for joining, everybody. Okay.